Not all coping strategies are created equal. Some will save your life and, well, some will ruin it. Spent years trying to fix my own issues, using the wrong tools, coping with burnout and stress. I tried them all. It wasn't until I started looking at what worked and what didn't until things actually started to change. So today I'm going to be ranking every coping strategy, the good, the bad, and the destructive, and everything in between. Maybe some that you agree with, and maybe some that you don't, but maybe it's the wake-up call that you need. So here's the plan. I'm going to take everything I know from my degree in psychology, working with people one-on-one and privately to deal with their own stress and burnout, as well as my own personal experiences. I personally crawled myself out of rock bottom, dealing with autoimmune diseases, as well as chronic burnout and stress. It's going to be breaking down every strategy that's worth your time and which ones are a waste of your time. You'll be able to know which tools can make you feel calmer, more focused, less stressed, and help with your own burnout, and just help you move towards who you want to be. So if you feel like you're stuck in survival mode, feeling really burnt out, stressed, maybe lacking a sense of direction, this video is for you. If you're serious about change, click the link below or reach out to me directly. I work privately with people to help them with their own stress, burnout, and direction in life. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, as I said, click the link. So starting at the bottom, we've got the F tier. Call this the leaky lifeboat. These are temporary solutions that give you limited relief, but in the end, they'll slow you down faster. It's like when you have a leak in the ship and you're trying to plug the hole, but you end up using something like a sponge. It might work for 30 seconds, but you'll still be going down. These normally do have the quickest feedback. They make you feel instantly better, but the longer and more consistent that you do these things, the worse you get. These are all focused on short-term gains, and it comes at a long-term cost. So these are alcohol, excessive drinking, drugs, substances, including things that make you feel good, but also might make you feel bad, over-isolation, excessive partying, self-destructive behaviors, blaming, or not taking any accountability. These might feel like survival, but at the same time, it feels like you might be filling your pockets with sand. It's just going to slow you down further. So these are F tier. They're harmful and avoidance based. These are short-term gains and really negatively affect us, especially for the long term. But before we judge, we need to know that most people don't start off here. They often slide down from the next tier. D tier coping. We call this the fog machine. This is really poor coping strategies that maybe give us a little bit of relief short term, but as the same as F tier, have maybe slightly less of a negative long-term effect. I call these the I'm fine or it's fine situation. You find in this tier, it's constant distraction, endless work, compulsive scrolling, and toxic positivity. You might also find people venting without reflection or overusing certain substances like caffeine or sugar. It's also not about what you're avoiding. It's about how long you spend there, because these strategies steal your time more than anything. C tier coping. I like to call this the cracked compass. This seems helpful until you realize that you're kind of moving in the wrong direction. These C tier coping strategies are mostly neutral. They do work for a short time, but they come back to bite you at the end of the day. In here, you've got things like scrolling social media mindlessly, retail therapy, Netflix or video binging, overworking or staying busy, and non-extreme comfort eating. These coping strategies in small dosages can kind of be relieving and soothing, but if we do delve into them, they do take a lot of our time, a lot of our energy, and they can become a serious problem if you allow it to. These all are pretty neutral. If you do these occasionally, they can be fine, but for a lot of people, they end up getting into this routine of doing it over and over again, stealing our time, attention, money, and everything in between. These are quite exhausting because they look productive, but deep down, you know you're pretty stuck. That's where the B tier coping strategies lie. I call this the warm blanket. It's safe, familiar, and reliable, but too much of it can stop our growth. It's like being under a really lovely warm blanket in the middle of winter. It's cozy, but if you don't come out, you won't be able to see the sunrise. These are normally good and situationally helpful, but over the long term, they can become detrimental. You've got things like watching comfy shows and movies, listening to music, reading for escape or learning, taking a nap if it's not avoidance-based, time management and planning, and volunteering and helping others. These things in normal small dosages are restorative, but too much of it become destructive. But now we're getting to coping strategies that support us and build capacity, not just soothe. A tier coping. I like to call it the first aid kit. These are strong, reliable strategies that you can implement. These are practical tools that bring short-term relief. This is like stopping to bandage a wound on a hike. It's It's not going to help you heal. It's just going to help you continue to walk. These A tier are excellent, strong, reliable strategies, such as talking to a trusted friend or loved one, spending time in nature, meditation and breath work, creative outlets like music, art and writing. Also having a healthy nutrition and hydration comes into this, as well as setting boundaries, saying no and protecting your energy. These actions over days, months, years allow you to grow. It allows for S tier coping strategies to come in and build some solid foundations. It allows for you to heal. That's where the real game changers come in. These are the tools that don't only help you cope better, but also grow. S tier coping strategies. I call this the oxygen mask on the plane. These strategies help you refill your tank physically, mentally, and spiritually. These are superb, life-changing, and highly efficient. Just like being on a plane, and when the oxygen mask falls down, you need to make sure that you put yours on first before helping others. These coping strategies don't only help you currently, they help you with your direction of life moving forward in the future. But like anything hard, they do require a little bit of uncomfortability before getting comfortable. These S tier coping strategies are movement, nature, having a quality sleep pattern, honest reflection, mentorship community, having a therapy or coaching session, breathwork and meditation, and cold and heat exposure. These all take time, energy, and resilience. You won't get it on the first time. This requires long-term dedication, being able to not only reflect upon yourself physically, mentally, and spiritually. These have the biggest effects, but they also are the hardest to get. But they make handling life so much easier. I'm not passing any judgment. I've used these strategies throughout my life at one stage or another. Starting at the bottom, we've got the F tier, the leaky lifeboat. These are temporary, but will sink you over time. Think instant gratification with no regard for the long term. If we can move away from these and strike them at its core, these will have an amazing effect, not only on your physical, but mental health. Moving on to D, the fog machine, the I'm fine. These are temporary fixes, but again, at long term, they do have their consequences. You might find yourself falling into these ones just before heading into the F tier strategies. We do find that people who are burnt out, overstressed, stick around here. It's a strategy that a lot of people feel comfortable with. Moving to C tier, it's the cracked compass. They seem like they're helpful, but they kind of point you in the wrong direction. Scrolling on social media, binging Netflix, retail therapy. Small dosages can kind of feel good, but long term, quite negative. Moving up to the B tier, this is the warm blanket. These are normally pretty good. They're familiar, they're safe, they're comfortable, but they don't put you in a position of growth. And that's where the issue comes from. This is where you aim for comfort consistently, and it stops you from growing. That's reading, writing, watching movies, TV shows, journaling. These are normally comforts that you might be feeling in your everyday life. And these are great in small dosages, but over the long term, they can be quite negative because they stop your growth. Moving to A tier, this is the first aid kit. These are strong, reliable strategies. These allow for you to continue moving forward, kind of like a band-aid to a situation. They're not making you grow, but they're also not pushing you back. They're allowing you to be present and deal with what you need to do. Moving to S tier, the oxygen mask on a plane. If you're able to adopt any of these coping strategies into your daily routine or into your life in general, you'll feel the effects immediately. These are life-changing, but require work. You have to move into uncomfortability before you can move into comfort with these. They refill your tank, not only physically, mentally, but also spiritually. Including these into your life can be super beneficial, but making sure we're taking stock of what habits we're creating and where we can move to the next tier. You can't move from F tier to S tier straight away. You have to do that slow, gradual process above. Every strategy on this list exists for a reason, even the bad ones. We use coping strategies that we know until we can learn better ones. This video isn't about shaming, it's about getting clarity and learning. So you can stop trying to do the same thing over and over, expecting a different outcome, and try something that can work. It's shit, I know. I've been through it myself. If you're ready for change and to go deeper, reach out to me directly or click the link below, because sometimes you need a guiding hand. Also, YouTube thinks that you should watch this video here, and I think I'd agree with them. So click this link here. It's a great video.